Last year, we had a lot of fun covering Jaguar, the car manufacturer that went as woke as you can go, saying, hold our beer, Bud Light, we're going to jump leapfrog right over you. Well, it turns out we now know the damage that was done. And what if we told you it's a statistic you won't believe? The number is crazy, but it may be indicative of why so many companies are running, fleeing from woke. Hello, folks. It's no joke. Jaguar is in deep, deep trouble, and it may not exist much longer. And why? Well, they went the Bud Light route, and it turns out without any doubt that when companies do so, the end is near. It happened to Disney. It happened to the others. Yeah, Disney's still alive, but look at the franchises that are gone for them. Look at what they did to Pixar, to Marvel, to Star Wars, and so much more. Well, when all you sell is cars and you go woke with cars, Jaguar has discovered it's a hard reality. And folks, we're here to tell you they've hit the low point. There's no lower they can go. Stats on the way. It just might be the very end of Jaguar after going super duper ultra woke. Folks, they've dropped 99.44% of their profits. Holy cow, you never see this kind of data, but there it is. And for those of you who are saying, what are we talking about? What are we going woke? Do you remember this, folks?
Yeah.
Jaguars copy nothing. This was when they prepared to release their Tesla killer, all electric vehicles, and they looked like the Batmobile was sprayed with lipstick. Here's the commercial. Great car commercial. Just wonderful.
With no car.
Yeah, right? Like, how are you going to market a car
If you saw that car, you'd know why they didn't show it.
Well, that's true.
It looked like the Batmobile made out of liquid lipstick. I mean, it's just terrible.
Oh, my favorite thing is like the executives, when they saw this, they were like, who approved this? And they were like,
We all did, sir. All of us.
And how much did it cost to make that commercial?
So Jaguar came out with that. And this, by the way, this came out right around the Bud Light situation. You all know the Bud Light situation.
Oh, yeah.
So what's the effect on it all? Andy, get the Bud Light situation ready to go. I know you've got the right action figure for this. The effect of it is that in the year that has followed, okay, we've got a year now, 99.44% drop in profits. The company's latest financial results are staggering. This is by David Manty out of IEN, Industrial Equipment News. No, it's not IGN. We prefer this website, in fact. It says Jaguar Land Rover yesterday released financial results for its fiscal year 2026, which ended March 31st. We now know just how big an impact the company's many trials and tribulations had on the automaker, and the results are staggering. In fiscal year 2025, the company reported a profit of 2.5 billion pounds. That's equivalent to $3.3 billion USD. In fiscal year 2026, for the full year, profit before tax and exceptional items was 14 million pounds or 18.7 million USD. That's a drop of 99.44%. Now, it gives us some reasons that it believes this is true. A severe cyber attack. It says they took the entire year off from selling Jag vehicles as they switched to EVs from gas. Then the tariffs. Blah, 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 blah. There's so many reasons for this. But can I tell you all that the real reason, and you know it, is they went woke. They didn't succeed in what they were attempting to do, which was launch an entire EV brand, turn Jaguar into an EV thing like Tesla or like Rivian. They went with woke advertising and it blew up in their faces tremendously. And how do you not have profits? Because nobody kept buying the cars. Because nobody wanted anywhere near this stuff. Same thing that happened to Bud Light, by the way.
And that's the point. It isn't just, well, do I want this or a Beamer or whatever? It's, I don't want anything that has anything to do with these crazy people. It's a negative. Oh, there we go.
Look at that. Look at that. Is that still for sale at Walmart? Andy, did you get that deal done with Walmart?
I've actually have made money on woke.
You're the one.
This one made money. Okay, so panel, here's the deal. I think the companies are fleeing this woke movement now. Like, we're past that. Now, woke's not dead, and there are people who want to bring it back. But the companies with the shareholders and all that, I think they're moving on because I think they believe that it will be the death of them if they attempt it. Maybe not Disney, maybe not a few others, but most companies look at what happened to Jaguar, they look what happened to Bud Light, and they say, no. I love my mansion by the sea, and this is a detriment to me if we go there. Vera, what do you think? Should I be less optimistic, maybe even pessimistic, looking at the gaming industry in Hollywood? Or are these the tales, the canaries in the coal mine that say the woke era really is in the past?
I mean, on one hand, yeah, like companies can only lose so much before they don't exist anymore. And so they're going to have to shift their marketing and their products. But ultimately, I will believe it when I see it. And we're not still seeing it. And in the case of like the video game industry, right, it can take 10 years for a game to come out. So we're not going to fully know if a company has actually changed their outlook and the people they're hiring for a very long time.
Phenomenal point.
Right. And we're not going to know like the full effects of how they've changed. But ultimately, I don't see these larger companies like Ubisoft, for example. I don't see them, even if they fire thousands of people, getting rid of their, we'll just call them for argument's sake, DEI divisions. These people will just be moved to either different divisions within the company. They're not going to just get rid of like the DEI like framework that they've already put in place in case they need it again in the future. That's what Marxists do. They rename, they change, and they are ultimately like chameleons, and they're going to try to blend in until they're needed. And maybe in a couple years, these companies will want to shift back to pushing these sort of narratives and ideologies, and this company structure will go back. But I mean, we haven't even seen them go forward and ultimately try to change in most cases. But yeah, I mean, the companies can only take so many losses before they have to say enough is enough if they are smart enough. And while there are going to obviously be companies that aren't smart enough to change, and well, we see what's happening with them. They're going under.
We are indeed. Carol, your thoughts on this? The pipeline point is so important. It's going to take years for companies to clear this out. But some companies won't survive because of what happened in the woke era.
They won't, and some of them are kind of stuck in their ways. I'm going to use publishing as an example because there's definitely a branch in publishing where they're kind of like, no, this is the thing and this is what we want to go for. And in those cases, I think woke just needs to be a genre, right? So if you want to make a game, just openly say we are making a woke game or we're making a woke product, and if people really want to do the woke stuff, then they'll go buy it. Otherwise, it needs to stop being snuck into everything under the idea that it's what people want right now. I think it's really interesting that people who have a lot of money weren't woke, but then once they get comfortable in their money, they become woke. So it's like they forgot how they got where they were. If that makes any sense.
No, I get it. I get it. Carol, could you talk specifically in an area that, or an area that you work in publication and in comics? What has happened to the comic industry as a result of being woke for 15 years?
Actually, a better example is going to be romance writers.
Sure. Walk us through that.
So romance writers are notoriously liberal, to the point where every time I talk to somebody who's a conservative in the romance community, they get ostracized a lot. And what's really interesting is that liberal authors actually spend a lot of time fighting each other. So like a couple years ago, we had, I don't know what the state of it is because I walked away from that hot mess, but we had a Romance Writers of America, and what they're in charge of is giving out awards and saying who the best romance writer and all that was. And no surprise to anybody, they really just kind of promoted their friends, which made all the woke people like come out of the woodwork and say, well, you're not doing it for this, and you got no DI, you've got no blah 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 blah. And that has really rippled into the romance thing in two different ways. One, I have found the books that are woke, and they're terrible. I don't even mean like the romance is terrible. I mean like they're so busy like trying to do all the check boxes and say like somebody's neurodivergent or somebody has ADHD, or that person's so strong because they're making a point to like showcase these things that I don't want to read the book. And then the weird other backlash is that people who are so tired of it, like, kind of go to the other end of the pendulum swing, where the books are like so badly raunchy just for the sake of like kicking it back to the other side that it's also unreadable. So it's like, it's really bad. And I don't know if that's going to get any better, because I think the people who actually could do really well on that are very soft spoken. They just don't want to like cause any problems or come under fire. Like a really good romance writer is Grace Davin. She's phenomenal, but she's definitely like, I'm not touching there. I'm not making any problems. And I think that's sad, because when you have talented people who don't want to showcase themselves because they're afraid of the reaction from the rest of the community, like they're really just hurting themselves and their craft at that point. Comic book wise, we can take a look at the big two and how they keep trying to like work in all that stuff to the point where it takes away from what drew us to the comic in the first place. Like, I don't read comics because I want to know what's going on in the world. I can turn on the news for that. I want to read comics because I want to see heroes doing hero things and make me feel like there actually is some good or hope out there, instead of being kind of like, well, things are terrible and we hate orange people, so let's just focus on that.
That's right. It's fascinating too that as we, these companies try to move away from it, and it's an existential crisis, these Star Wars, they still have the same personnel. So now these people who they were passionate about being woke and pushing this agenda, it's like if you take that away from them, there's nothing left. And so I think that's how we're now getting boring entertainment. It's not like we suddenly, left that era and entertainment jumped into being great again, or these movies understood marketing and it's wonderful again. It's like now it's just mush because they don't know what to give the market, because they don't understand the market anymore. It's not like Jaguar came out of this and jumped up and said, oh, well, now we get it. They want the same kind of cars we used to make. No, they didn't get out of the wilderness, Andy. Everybody left the woke era, and now most of them are in the wilderness, the 40 years of trying to find out, okay, who are we again, and what is the market again, and what do we do with a workforce that doesn't understand the people we're selling to?
I think that most people were confronted with all this woke stuff. And a lot of people went and they did a little bit of self-reflection and said, you know what? No, this doesn't really apply to me. I'm not a horrible person. I'm not, because it's not just tolerance, and it's like it's the little eyeball things from Clockwork Orange that you have to sit there and like, no, you're going to sit there and look at this. Well, people aren't subjected to that. They can turn the TV off. They can buy other cars. They can do all this. And now you've got the comeuppance for it, because the people that try to, like the Larry Finks of the world, that want to drive culture, they want to change things. Well, Mao tried that, and he had all the force of like the Chinese government behind him, and he couldn't really do it. So you're not going to change. Happens organically. It happens by two people that may come from different backgrounds, but they get together on the things they can agree on, and they learn to. There's things about each other that they like or dislike, whatever. But you can't force it. People are people, and people inherently don't like to be told what to do. So as these companies have learned their lesson or are learning their lessons, I think it's going to be an interesting thing, because there's going to be some people out there that refuse to budge, and they're going to keep sticking to their guns, and they're going to go bankrupt. You're going to have the Bud Lights, where not the Bud Lights, but the Alicia Heinerschlag. She's probably going to go somewhere. She'll never get a job again, at least in that market, from what she did. But I don't think that she'll change her mind. I think she's going to be one of these people that they think that they're right. They were right, and just everybody else was just not informed enough to see it. I'm glad to see that the people, though, have rejected things that paint them as villains, and you're some kind of terrible person if you don't embrace what I believe fully. And I think that's what's really happening with a lot of this. It's like, and we have no tolerance for it, because like I think that's one of the reasons you see the problems we do with streaming. No one, they wait and see what it's going to be. And that's why there's so much binge watching, because like you don't want to get hooked in on 3 shows out of a 6-episode series. And then the last 2 completely flip the script, and then you have Girl Boss and everything like that. So hopefully Wall Street will learn. Anybody that wants to make money will learn. Give people what they want rather than what you think they should want.
Lou, I'm going to turn to you for the final word on this. As a guy who owned a Jaguar,
Yes.
and you have
And
fond
remember,
memories.
Jaguar hasn't been that Jaguar, and they've gone through 2 or 3 different ownership changes. I think Ford owned it for a while, and then it moved to Germany. And so, my Jag was the real Jag back in the day with my first car. Oh, I miss it so. But look, what Andy just said about people having a choice. The whole purpose of all this bullying is to remove the option of a choice. The whole purpose is to say my way or the highway, and you have no choice, as a way of imposing their views on the world. Doesn't work because, thank God, we live in a capitalist society. It works in a place where there's only brand X, where, the old saying in the Soviet Union was about Pravda and Izvestia, which meant truth and news, that there was no truth in the news, no news in the truth. But you only had the 2 brands to choose from, and it was no choice at all. But we do have a choice. And as a certain guy once told Indy, choose wisely. Choose wisely.
Choose wisely. Folks, I'll tell you this, on the positive side for Jaguar, I was at the Mecum car auction in Orlando a year ago. Coolest car there was the original and the only Jaguar from the Austin Power Series, a 1967 E-Type. And let me tell you, what a cool car. They only had one. They had a budget for one. So all the things it needed to do were still right there in the car. Everything, every stunt, and it was so cool to see how they worked everything in to make sure it could do everything they needed from scene to scene.
I went to a car show once where a guy had about a 19, whenever they first did the XJ, the low slung beauty. And I said, it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. How does it drive? And he said, like an 80-year-old car, so there are the upsides and the downsides. All these people that want the originals, I would love to put a brand new modern chassis and engine and everything in an old classic car body or imitation.
Yeah, because the exteriors are beautiful, but when you get in them, you'll change your mind real fast, especially if you have to drive the thing. Same thing with the DeLoreans. The DeLoreans are awful, terrible cars. You would never want to drive a DeLorean unless you're a masochist. I mean, it struggles to get to 40, so little alone 88. But what do I call that?
I still want Banachek's car. I want that 1941 Darren Victoria. Oh God!
Ghost. What do they call it when is it a retrofit when they go in and they redo all the interior and they update it?
I don't know, but that's my feeling is I don't care about the authenticity of what's under the hood. I want it to be safe.
The exteriors are beautiful,
but the exteriors and the interior of the passenger compartment, great leather, great wood, but.
Vera, I've seen some of those retrofits. Maybe that's the answer for Jaguar. Let's go get the old ones and let's retrofit them. Some of the people who retrofit these things, it's incredible. I mean, it's amazing what they do.
Yeah.
All right, folks, that's where we'll leave it for Jaguar, but not good for them. Cracker Barrel struggling too. Pizza Hut racing to go back to retro because they know that's what you want. And the whole woke era falling apart in front of us. The Hollyweirds don't understand how it is we do what we do, bringing you video after video every single day of the utmost highest excellence and quality. But folks, we do it because of you. We appreciate you. You are seen and heard here on the Pro Channel. Make your voices heard, folks, by doing one last thing before we say goodbye for a short time. Consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, and you know what? That notification bell, click it and stick it to the algorithms. Also, drop a comment down below and let us know your thoughts. And don't forget, folks, we've got even more content on the way. If you'd like to become a member, it's just the price of a soda per month, and you'll gain access to all kinds of exclusive content beyond what the public sees, including archival footage of the Pro Show that goes away after just a few days from its public release. Folks, we hope we get the honor of spending time with you again soon, and until then, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.